Hello everyone, welcome to another video from the Tropica Aquarium Plants Studios. You may recall we aquascaped this beautiful nano aquarium about a month ago now, and it's in need of some maintenance. And in particular, there's a few little issues that we need to talk about. I'll show you exactly what they are and how we deal with those. But yes, this video is going to give you a complete rundown on how we maintain this wonderful nano aquascape. I hope you enjoy it. Give us a like if you do, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Okay, so I just want to run through a brief list of the jobs that we're going to undertake on this aquarium. First things first, we actually take a little bit of the aquarium water out. That allows us to get our hands in there without danger of spilling the water. Next job will be cleaning the aquarium glass. And then the biggest job will be trimming the plants. We'll be trimming the foreground plants, the midground and the background. And we're going to use different techniques of trimming and explain exactly why we use those techniques and some of the issues that we can see on some of the plants, such as the brown algae, otherwise known as diatoms. So we'll talk about that in more detail as well. And then we'll finally come up with a beautiful, clean looking aquarium. It will look very different to it is now. Lots of trimming, lots of cleaning, and it will be lovely. Okay, first job we're going to do is actually trim some of the Marsilea minuta leaves. Now what happens in new aquariums very often is that we have a thing called diatoms, otherwise known as brown algae. It's really common, especially in planted aquariums, and it's almost inevitable in the first sort of 3 to 5 weeks, and I think that's why we've got it going on in here. As with most algae, it tends to be attracted to the most unhealthy part of that plant, and so rather than trying to clean off that brown algae, which is generally quite easy to remove, it's actually better usually to trim that plant completely. That removes that unhealthy leaf and then removes the algae with that leaf, of course, but then allows the plant to use the energy to grow a new leaf, and therefore that new leaf will be super well adapted to grow underwater. Now you can see some of the really healthy Marsilea minuta leaves here, the really bright green ones, as opposed to the ones covered in the diatoms. These are the brown ones, of course. So what I'm going to do now is just trim away all those brown leaves, and that's going to encourage new growth, and eventually will achieve a nice compact carpet of the Marsilea. What we could do is add brand new plants if we wanted to. We've literally got thousands in the laboratories over there. However, I wanted to show you guys how it is possible to mature an aquarium with relatively low plant mass if you want to. This is especially important for people on a really tight budget. So that's the Marsilea minuta trims, the worst affected brown leaves I've just trimmed off. Cuttings have floated to the surface, we'll net those off later. Next job is to trim the Gratiola. This is the foreground stem plant. Again, it's got some diatoms or brown algae covering some of the leaves, so I'm going to trim back the worst affected stems. And the great thing about Gratiola, it does branch quite easily, so wherever we trim from, it's going to create new stems from that point. And hopefully that new growth will be readily adapted and grow nice, green and healthy without any brown algae attached. So we've now trimmed the Gratiola. Hopefully new growth will be nice and fresh, adapted to underwater, and hopefully won't be covered in brown algae again because the aquarium will be matured, of course. Next job is to trim the Hygrophila pinnatifida. Very interesting plant. It can either be grown as an epiphyte, i.e. attached to your decor, which we've got here, or you can actually grow it as a stem plant, inserted in the soil and growing upright, as you can see here. So there's two kind of ways that it grows, either vertically, as you can see, or kind of sends out shoots horizontally, which it's doing here. So we have to ask ourselves, what type of plant do we want? Do we want kind of more vertical growth, or do we want more horizontal growth? Now I actually quite like the vertical because it adds height to the aquascape. At the moment, if we cut all that down, we don't really have much height. The Hottonia hasn't quite grown to the surface yet. So I'm quite keen to maintain some of the height here, and I'm quite keen to tidy up all these shoots around here just to give it a nicer, neater look and overall improved composition. So what I'm going to do is trim back quite hard these shoots down here, and then just tidy up these vertical stems here just to make it look a more attractive and overall appearance. So as you can see, we've trimmed back quite hard the Hygrophila pinnatifida around the base of the plant where it's sending out side shoots, trying to attach itself to the wood and actually starting to carpet along the soil. I don't actually want that effect. I'd rather go for the vertical effect, which we've got here. So trimmed all the side shoots away, trimmed a couple of the vertical shoots just to tidy it up, and this really accentuates the height here, giving the aquascape an overall improved composition. Next step is to trim the Hottonia palustris. That's the background stem plant, and I'm actually going to improve the composition of the aquascape further by trimming quite hard and quite short around this central area here, and then deliberately allowing the left and the right hand stems to grow taller, and that's going to create a beautiful U shape or a V shape composition. Okay, so there's the aquascape maintained. Quite considerable work today. Just to summarise what we've done, trimmed off the unhealthiest Marsilea leaves, and we're hoping that that's going to spread on its own accord with no need to add any more. However, if you wanted to speed the process along, you could always buy another pot, and I would recommend definitely buying the one to grow Marsilea minuta, because that's already started to adapt to its underwater growth. So when you put it in your aquarium, it's hopefully going to start growing straight away. Whereas if you bought the potted version, then it does take more time and more energy to adapt to its underwater growth form. We've trimmed the Gratiola again, hopefully to get rid of those black brown algae, and a similar story with the Hottonia stem plant at the back, but we've actually changed the composition by trimming them much shorter towards the centre. And then we also, of course, trimmed the Hygrophila pinnatifida in order to encourage that vertical growth rather than the horizontal side shoot growth, because I think it acts as a really nice focal point. It's also off to about 1/3, so it's nicely in line with the rule of thirds compositional guidelines. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Give us a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and leave us a comment. Would you add any extra plants in here? And if so, what would you add? Please do follow us on our social media at Tropica Aquarium Plants. And if you want to have a chance of your own content being featured on our channels, then use the hashtag #MadeWithTropica. Also, we have an app available now on iOS and Android devices. Fantastic app, gives you complete plant profiles, inspirational layouts, and lots of great information all about the beautiful world of aquarium plants. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.